The month of May found us trackside alongside the newly formed CPKC quite often. Let's jump right into the action alongside the VICKSBURG subdivision. While I was traveling to Shreveport to complete an errand, my scanner picked up something on the move, so I made a quick detour in the town of SIBLEY, Louisiana. I wouldn't have to wait long before intermodal train I-166 came around the corner. This train traverses between the intermodal facilities of Wiley, Texas to the Norfolk Southern-owned facilities in Atlanta, Georgia. For those that have watched my other recent videos on this line, you've noticed that this specific train often has general manifest freight mixed in along with the containers that make up a typical stack train. Essentially, this train replaced the old KCS IDAAT-2.
Clear West Sibley up.
With these 166 trains, they don't move as quickly across the system as a standard intermodal. You'll often find these trains switching various yards on their treks eastward. I know for a fact that these trains switch in Shreveport and a few locations on Norfolk Southern rails, but I can't confirm every location they switch. After completing my errands in Shreveport, I decided to make a day of railfanning out of it. Literally, as I arrived to the major Shreveport yard, a northbound empty grain is making its way out of the yard. I tried to beat the train to Blanchard, and the newest train introduced on the railroad would greet me. This is CPKC's southbound intermodal 180. This train is part of CPKC's newest Mexico Midwest Express service. These trains have been the hottest on the entire system and have been flying between the Metroplex of Chicago to the country of Mexico. First thing you'll notice though is the amount of auto racks in the consist. These are empty cars as they head southwards towards Mexico while they'll come back north loaded. With Mexico's impressive amount of car manufacturing facilities, hopefully these trains will be a major carrier of vehicles being imported into the U.S. Behind the auto racks, we catch a glimpse of CPKC's and Schneider National's new deal in action. In April of 2023, it was announced that CPKC would be Schneider's primary rail carrier to haul freight into Mexico, and not long after, Knight-Swift Transportation would follow. These developments in the industry have certainly rattled the cages of other Class 1s such as Union Pacific. While seeming to increase competition in my eyes, UP claims the opposite, even though they will be trying to challenge CPKC by collaborating with other railroads such as CN and Ferromex. If you ask me, that seems like competition. Ironically, Union Pacific Power was seen on that grain leaving the Shreveport yard, which this intermodal was going to meet. And funny enough, UP has joined Metra in a lawsuit against the federal government to reverse the merger between CP and KCS on the grounds that competition has been reduced. I definitely recommend you looking more into this if you're interested. If you want my take, I think it's the funniest argument I've ever heard. Especially since CPKC is doing the opposite and generating high amounts of competition of US to Mexico movements in its first month and a half of operations. With a crew change taking place at the Shreveport yard, that gives us an opportunity to jump ahead of the train. Instead, our usual tactic of being up close and personal, this time we observe from afar across Cross Lake. As the 180 continues through the Shreveport terminal, soon it will travel onto the Beaumont subdivision to continue on southward into Texas and later Mexico. As it crosses over the spillway, we hear another northbound empty grain that will meet it. With the new CP-style train symbol system, I've yet to learn where these grain trains are bound to specifically. While more than likely it's bound for Kansas City, where it will continue northward into CP's old system, there is also a chance that it's bound for the Gateway line in Illinois. This train certainly did not have a lack of power on this cloudy day. A total of 7 Southern Bells are up front. While I figured most of these motors were just tagged onto this train to be dropped in the Shreveport facilities, we'd catch this train again a bit north to find all the motors still in tow. I guess rail fans up on the old CP territory will be happy to see more bells coming their way. While in this video you don't see too many CP red locomotives, trust me, there has been a drastic increase in the region. So, I mentioned we'd catch this grain again, and to do that we'd wait for a crew change and clearance to depart north. Instead of waiting in MOORINGSPORT, I figured I'd film the train in a town I've yet to catch something in. That town would be Oil City. The oil booms of a previous era gave the town its name, and much of its history in the oil industry can be found spread out in this interesting park area alongside the old depot and KCS caboose. While the town is much quieter than it was in its heyday, it's a nice and peaceful place to sit trackside if you ever find yourself in the area. If the trains aren't moving as much as you'd prefer, you can also check out the Oil and Gas Museum in town. After a while of taking in some of these old relics, our northbound races through town, breaking the quiet nature of Oil City. A few miles north of Oil City is a siding called Shoreline where a southbound happened to be waiting for that grain. I move a town south to MOORINGSPORT to document this southbound BNSF coal train racing over Caddo Lake. Down in Wilson's Alley near downtown Shreveport, I'll wait for the coal train to arrive as CPKC MOW crews are working on one of the main lines. So once arriving in Shreveport, these coal trains are handed back to BNSF crews who utilize trackage rights on the Union Pacific to return to home rails. The operations of these coal trains are pretty interesting considering they have to wire the entire train in Shreveport and shove them into position for interchange. Truthfully, I feel like these coal train operations may deserve a full overview video one day, so if you'd be interested in seeing that, please leave a comment down below and let me know. These coal trains are also technically street running for a short moment. From what I've seen, these coal trains are the main thing you will see on this section of track. While I've been told by employees that sometimes you'll find something else here, 9 times out of 10, you'll find these coal trains. A BNSF crew was standing by waiting for CPKC to hand it over, but we're gonna head on out and call the outing a success. The following day found me in SIMSBORO, where I happened to meet a huge fan of the channel. This young fellow was quite the knowledge database, quoting videos that I made that I had completely forgotten about, and it was a real treat to visit with him and his dad. If you're watching this, buddy, this is what I caught before you arrived. This is daily westbound stack train I-169, highballing for Wiley, Texas, with a duo of Norfolk Southern Stallions on the lead. I'm going to wrap up this video with some smaller power. A pair of 4-axle Jeep locomotives are seen here at the CPKC yard in Monroe, Louisiana. While I've yet to learn the new CPKC symbol for this train, KCS referred to it as the LMN-102 or Job 20, and the crews still were as well. This local serves various customers between here and the town of Arcadia. Well, I hope you enjoyed this compilation of catches on the CPKC. Since I'm starting a new job very soon, my trackside activities may slow down a bit, and CPKC action may be all I could document. But luckily, the transition era should be interesting to cover, so I hope that y'all will tune in for more. Anyway, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video, and until next time, I will see you all somewhere out there along the rails.